David, what was the thing that kind of like got you really hooked to focus your research on Bitcoin security and how to potentially leverage that to other chains? And what is the big challenge here? Maybe we can start there.
Yeah, I think, the thing is that Bitcoin is kind of a very expensive resource, right? We're spending huge amount of energy on this resource. But all it's doing is confirming 6 transactions or 8 transactions per minute. Per minute or per second? Per second, right?
Yeah.
So it's really a kind of a waste in some sense of this resource that the humankind is spending. So I think the first idea is to sort of leverage off this resource in a positive way for the entire blockchain ecosystem as opposed to just for Bitcoin. And so that's what started us thinking about sort of using this Bitcoin. And then at the same time, since we have done a lot of work on proof of stake protocol, in particular the collaboration with Ethereum, we realized that there are many attack vectors in proof of stake protocols that are not in proof of work protocol. And so therefore the natural idea is really how to combine the best of both worlds using not a new proof of work protocol, but an existing proof of work chain, Bitcoin, and use that to supplement or increase the security and remove these attack vectors for proof of stake protocol. And actually this idea of combining 2 protocols together is actually not new, in the sense that even if you look at Ethereum proof of stake protocol, it has already this idea of having a Nakamoto consensus protocol running below together with a finality gadget on top. So in some sense, what we're doing here is we're kind of flipping. So Bitcoin is on top and proof of stake protocol is below. So in some sense, it's like a duo. If I may get a little bit nerdy here, mathematically nerdy, it's like the duo of sort of the Ethereum kind of construction. And so it felt kind of very natural to us to, given our background, to sort of push that forward, to figure out how to design a protocol that is secure. So I would like to add one point as to why sort of we got attracted to the Cosmos ecosystem and built on a little bit on what Zaki said about Tendermint, is that one thing we really like about Tendermint is, it's not flashy. Some people even think it's like old technology, but we really like it. And one reason we like it is because it's a very well-designed with a proper security proof analysis protocol. So it's like something very solid that you can build on. While, many other protocols, I should not name names at this point, do not have any security proofs. And for example, people think, hey, some people ask me on Twitter, actually, in the past 2 days, they say, hey, why is Cosmos having a bonding period of 21 days, whereas some other chain, I think it was mentioned was, maybe I should not mention names, only 1 day or 1 minute, or maybe, I don't know, 1 day unbonding or a few hours of unbonding. What's with those? Well, the thing is that they have not thought through the consequence of long-range attack, of posterior attack. And the reason is because that is fundamental to proof of stake. So in our recent paper, we showed that actually no proof of stake protocol can overcome this issue. The 21 days that Cosmos designed is kind of an honest recognition of this fact. And Ethereum also follows the same philosophy. They also have a very long unbonding period of the order of 2 or 3 weeks. And so these are serious projects, I think. So that's why we want to build on such serious projects.
Can you maybe define what long-range attacks are and what the severe consequences could be that other projects that have very short unbonding periods have not thought in the long term?
Yeah. So unbonding, this long-range attack is really coming from the fact one fundamental difference between proof of work and proof of stake. Proof of work, to build any block, any new block, you have to do more work. Mm-hmm. It's just the physical nature of the game, right? Any new block you build, you have to do more work. In proof of stake, as a coin can actually be used multiple times without any extra. So there's a fundamental sort of difference between stake and work. And a lot of the careful design of proof of stake protocol is really to try to mitigate this difference. But there are some differences that are not mitigatable. And one example is that when you unbond a stake, once you unbond it, you can use that stake again to rebuild another block, a parallel block, to attempt a double spend. And in proof of stake protocol, the strongest security guarantee is so-called slashing.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, the whole tenement is actually designed around slashing, I believe, how the crypto economic penalty. But once you unbond, you cannot slash anymore. And so thereby, that's the biggest problem. If you do fast unbonding, you let the guy leave the system, and then he try to build another chain using the same coin, nothing a stake attack, you can't slash them. And so the 21 days is really to make sure that the community around the chain, off-chain, sort of come to an agreement on what is the correct chain, so that any new chain built afterwards will be rejected by the community. So that's where the softness.
Can I tell a story
Yes, exactly.
about this? Okay, so I'm going to tell a little bit of a story about, a little bit about the difference between how proof of stake people, proof of work people think about the world, right? So proof of work people, like their sort of mental model of who should be able to use the system safely, right? Is there's a guy and he's sitting in a cave. He has like a diesel generator. He's got a shortwave radio. He has all of his money in Bitcoin. Like he has his Raspberry Pi. Okay. And, he wants to make sure that like his money is safe. Right. And so, and the idea is, sometimes the power will go out. There'll be a lightning storm. Like he'll get disconnected from the network. He won't be able to get new blocks. Right. And so the idea of Bitcoin is basically this idea of there's no such thing as subjectivity, which is you can start your Bitcoin node and it will sync from the first block to the current head of the network. And other than the fact that, you just have the correct Bitcoin software and you have the right Genesis block, you don't need to know anything else, right? As long as you can reach other peers, as long as you can get the blocks, you can like verify the whole system, right? There's this trade-off though when you get to proof of stake, which is the man in the cave model doesn't work anymore, right? Like if you go offline for longer than the unbonding period, you can stake will change hands. You come back online. You're like, oh, like my last block that I knew about, everyone who was a validator could have changed. All the validators could have changed on the current blockchain. And then those validators could have sold their keys and said, hey, like I'll just like publish my key on the internet, right? Like I'm done. I'm out. I've done published my keys on the internet, unbonded all my coins, like it's all gone. And you can just go and say, and then anyone on the internet to this man on the cave, just be like, man in the cave, like I've made a new blockchain, like, this is where all the money is. And you can trick the man on the cave. Well, when we built IBC, we sort of built an on-chain version of the man on the cave because the IBC software client that's running on the blockchain doesn't know anything. It doesn't, it can't go look at MintScan. It can't look at CoinGecko. It can't check Binance. It doesn't know anything other than the like consensus proofs. And so this is where this like, it's happened in Cosmos, right? That like a chain halts, the light clients expire. We have to have a governance vote to turn the IBC channel back on. Like, why does all of this happen? It's because we took all of this weak subjectivity very seriously. And we were like, well, if your chain halts and you can't send an update of what your validator set for longer than 2 weeks, the IBC channel gets disconnected. You have to, and like the connection halts. And all of this stuff is like built into the security of IBC. So it's just like, so you have this metaphor of the man in the cave, the Bitcoiners, like the people who work on Bitcoin consensus. This is the thing that they want to preserve. I don't know. But like we've actually made all of this stuff very practical. Like this is fundamental to the way IBC works.
Yeah.